All right, I think we are live. I love it. Oh my God, this is like working out. Let's see. Let me. Okay, one of these days I'm not going to do this, I promise. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's see. All right, we're done. Okay, we are talking about, as always, a very fun topic. I know I say that every single time, but it's all fun and exciting, isn't it? We are talking about a very fun topic. What to say in the DMs. And I think that most of us, most of us have issues when it comes to even doing the DMs, much less what to say in the DMs. The one thing I would say is the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more you get nice feedback from it, the more you're going to get into it. But what you want to do is try to make it as normal as possible. I feel like I'm super dark. Let's see if I can turn on the light over here. Let's see, let's see. That help? Not really. A little bit. All right, zero stress. You can see me. You can hear my voice. That's the most important thing. All right. So what to say in the DM? So why this matters. Almost every single coach I talk to freezes up when it comes to the DMs. Almost every business owner I talk to says, "What are you even talking about?" Which is maybe a little bit worse, but people are overthinking it, losing a ton of opportunities, right? That's where it's at. It's in the DMs, it's in the conversations. So if you're not having the conversations, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. You're leaving a lot of people out to dry. Like they're not getting your help that they need, all sorts of stuff. So regardless of which way you look at it, some people are motivated by different things. And if you're one of those, I just want to make an impact kind of people, well, you're not making an impact if you aren't having the conversations. If you're a profit person, you get what I'm talking about. So I want you to leave today with some scripts that you can use to try today immediately. I want you to just get in there and do it and give yourself, a 2. Like I'm going to do 2 today. I'm going to do 5 today, whatever it is, but make yourself do 2 minutes of it, whatever it is. And the 3 main things that you need to do in the DM is create connection, right? Create that connection, create curiosity to move them, to want to actually speak to you and that type of thing. And conversion, but um without pressure. You don't want to feel yucky about it. We all hate that, right? All right, so write down one person, just one. I'm going to say 2, but 1 to 2 people that you've been meaning to message, that maybe you met in a live networking, that you met in the grocery store, that you met on their Facebook page, that you were DMing or not DMing with, because that's what we're doing, but that you saw a post about, or that commented on one of your posts, something about. One person. I'd really love 2, but let's just do 1 for those of you that are like, this is terrible. All right, so let's talk about why DMs feel sleazy and how to fix it fast. That's the biggest thing that we want to do today. So you think that you need to pitch. You think that you're in the DMs to sell these people, but that is not what you're trying to do, right? It's not a mini sales call. Unless you get really great at this, and don't get me wrong, one of my coaches sells, a couple $1,000s a month thing in the DMs. If you get really good at it, you can get there. But we're talking to the people that are like not even doing the DMs. So at the beginning, you don't want to pitch. Even when you're selling 2,000, you don't want to pitch, right? You don't want to do that. So the other problem I see is that you feel like you're intruding on somebody, like intruding is the best word. You assume that you're bothering them or pestering them and that you are like pushing yourself on them. Just stop thinking like that. Most human connection online happens in the DMs. That's where you can have an actual private conversation with somebody, right? And if you're not having those private conversations, then you're not really connecting with anybody. And then some of you will be like, you're not confident in your message. You're not confident your message will land. So you overthink, and then you never send it. That is, we want to get movement going. If even ugly movement at the beginning is okay because you're getting feedback. Also, if you send out 10 messages, that is not enough feedback. When you send out 1,000 messages and you can say, out of these 1,000, I got this percentage of this percentage, that's feedback. Now you know. The next 1,000 you send out, compare it to the first 1,000. Change one thing, that type of thing. All right, so reframe this. DMs are not sales. They're conversations that open doors. That's it. All right, people. My favorite example. You guys know, if you watch me, I love the Big Mac, right? People pick the familiar Big Mac over better burgers. Every day, all day long, it happens, right? Your people will pick you when conversations feel familiar, warm, and safe. That's that whole know, like, and trust, right? People are going to buy. That's not up for questioning, right? All around you, people are buying. So who are they buying from and why are they buying? That's what you need to figure out. Number one, we know people buy from people they like. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. You want to help them feel familiar with you. And that is what branding does. I mean, if they see you over and over and over and over, that's one way to do it, right? If they have conversations with you over and over and over, that's another way to do it. And the more conversations you have, the warmer and safer they're going to feel. So you want to sell the conversation, not the program, right? That's what you want to sell. So if that makes sense, when you are in public, if you are pushing something, it's having a conversation. It's not your program. You're not trying to sell your program in the DMs. I thought I had lipstick on my teeth. Drives me crazy. You're not trying to sell the program. You're trying to sell the conversation, the call, the DMs, whatever it is. That's what you want to sell. And by sell, I mean talk about in public. All right, so there's 5 types of messages that you can use to start conversations. We're going to go over them. This is a great time to pull out that pen and paper. The first one is the icebreaker message. And this is, I would say, the most important one. Everybody has their own thought process. And if you hate this one and you skip to the next one, that's okay. I personally think this is a necessary one. I know somebody else I work with hates this one and never uses it. But the icebreaker message is like, so just a quick story with that. So if you've ever, okay, most of you have not. I taught. The very first time I taught, I was so nervous. It was in Panama, and I had not um done a lot of public transportation, and the anxiety of trying to get where I needed to go was like across town, and there was like a major street in between where I needed to go, like where I lived and where I needed to go. And for whatever reason, if you cross this major street, getting a cab, and this time we didn't have Uber, so getting a cab was really hard. So I had like this absolute like crazy anxiety about how I was going to take public transportation to get there. Basically, I spoke to somebody the night before, and they said, "Hey, we have an opening. Can you start tomorrow?" And I said, "Yes." So, anyway, long story short, I have high anxiety on how I'm going to get there in this public transportation. I leave like 2 hours early. I'm so stressed out. I get there. I get in front of a classroom of I can't, middle school type kids. I don't think I had any materials. I had zero teaching experience, no idea what I was doing in front of like 30 or 40 high school kids that didn't speak any English. And I spoke little to no Spanish, but I was teaching English, so I didn't really need Spanish. And all I could think of to do was icebreaker, right? You need to calm the room. You need to get people engaged. And that's why I'm a big believer in icebreakers, even in my messaging, because it relaxes people. It gets people like in the groove, and I had my favorite ones that I would do over and over and over again. And you can use the same ones over and over and over again. Figure out what feels good, what you like. But it's light, it's friendly, it's zero pressure. So some icebreakers are the best icebreakers are about them, right? About something. And if you can get it specific, the better, even better. So something like, "Hey, your story cracked me up," right? Your dog has the exact same energy as mine. What breed is he? This is an icebreaker. It has nothing to do with your business, my business, nothing that we're doing. It's a pure icebreaker, and it connected us. You have a dog, I have a dog. Your story cracked me up. My dog does that same thing. Do you see how beautiful that is? Here's another one. "Just saw your post about juggling life and business. I felt that deeply. How are you managing everything this week?" Now, for me, that would kind of bridge it a little bit better, which I love those. If I can bridge it right there, like if I can connect my message, my icebreaker to business, I'm all about it. Sometimes I just can't figure out a way. So I'll do something like that first one. That's a good one. What about your morning routine video was so inspiring. How long have you been doing it? Right? I could kind of bridge that one into mine for sure. But it depends on what you're doing, what you're talking about. Those are not cookie cutters. Right? You looked at something that they were doing, you pulled out something that you can talk about, and you spoke about it. That's it. They're not cookie cutters, they're not scripts. You just know, hey, I need to break the ice, something light, something funny, something easy, something comfortable, whatever it is. All right, that's the first one. The second one, compliment. Everybody loves a compliment. Oh, I would add also use their name, because people like seeing their name or hearing their name. If you do a voice note, their name, amazing. So compliment and combine that with a little bit of curiosity. So that's very genuine, it's warm and specific. So do we get the pattern here? Specific, specific, right? Here's an example. I love how clear and confident your message is. Are you working on anything specific in your niche right now? So I compliment it. A lot of times I will compliment maybe their banner or their profile picture. All of those go with what I'm doing, right? Your last post was so thoughtful. What inspired you to write it? Compliment and curiosity. Ask a question. Here's another one. You've been showing up consistently. It's so noticeable. What's been the biggest shift for you lately? Good one, right? All right, so that second one, compliment and curiosity. Third one, shared experience message. You can see how you might cross-pollinate some of these, but this is what's going to create an instant connection. And the dog one, that one might have worked, right? Here's another one. I saw your post about struggling with consistency. I've been there. Curious, what's the hardest part for you right now? Again, I would take curious out, but hey, what's the hardest part for you right now? You know, what are you attributing it to? Something, right? Here's another one. You mentioned overthinking content. Same. What kind of content do you feel most confident creating? I wouldn't put that one because I don't overthink content. But if you do, that would be an easy one, right? That story about burnout. Here's another example. That story about burnout hit home. What helped you realize something needed to change? Right? So if that was you, you could put that. Yeah, I'm going through that. I went through that. Been there, done that. My clients have been there, done that. This is what we do. All right. Fourth one, permission-based question. I use this one a lot. So this is respectful, intrusive, and very human. Example, can I share something I noticed in your last post? Would it be okay if I offered a thought on what you're working on? Can I ask a question about your niche? I think it might be helpful. Now, I will be honest with you. I have gotten some rude responses with these, and I've gotten a lot of really amazing responses. So this is a little bit of a fine line because I am offering help that they did not ask for. So that gets a little bit dicey. People who want the help are very grateful. They want me to send them the thing. They love it. People who get their hairs up are probably not people I wanted to work with anyway, let's be honest. They're not open to being coached. They're not open to whatever. So that could go either way. But think of some permission-based questions that would go with what you do. Right? Drop them down below. I want to hear like some that you might have, like what do you coach on or what your business is about? What kind of permission-based questions can you ask? You can do lighter ones that aren't as, like I call these non-intrusive, but in a way they are a little bit because I'm going to offer some sort of help, right? You could make them less intrusive than even this. Just think about how that would work in your business. And if you need help with that, just send me a message. All right, here's the last one, the expert lens message. You could see, like, you could kind of use these all together, right? Move from one to the next. So this positions you without coaching for free. So notice something interesting about your offer. One tiny tweak could make it even clearer. Want me to share it? Right? You're just going to give them one little tweak. It's not huge. You're not going to redo their entire business, that type of thing. Here's another example. You're so close to a really compelling niche angle. Is that something you are exploring right now? Like, do you want some help? Or here's another one. You've got strong content, but I can tell you're hiding your real brilliance. What's the message you really want to say? That's a really good one because that happens a lot, right? People hold back. All right, choose one of the 5 message types that you're going to use on your person or 2 people. Write a quick draft. So at least jot it down. I don't want you to, if you're watching on replay, you can pause. But if you're watching this live, I don't want you to like jump off. So just write it down. What's one of the 5 message types that you'll use this week and write a draft message. If you had 2 people, choose 2 different ones just to try them out. All right. So what are we going to say when they reply? This is where a lot of people freeze and then they don't want to say anything else. Or they say, okay, let's just go through it. So curiosity is the #1 sales tool. The #1 sales tool. Why? Because it builds trust. It reduces the pressure It keeps conversation flowing naturally. People love talking about themselves, right? Ooh, my lighting just totally got better. People love talking about themselves. So if you can keep people talking about themselves, it helps you in so many ways and it will help them in so many ways because the more information you have, the more you can help them. All right, so I use what I call the C3 method, and that's clarity, confirm, continue. So you want to clarify with some questions, right? Ask questions, uncover the real issue. What's really going on? Avoid assuming that you know what's going on in their life and their business and anything. Just avoid it as much as humanly possible. It's hard sometimes. And then get details that help you understand their situation as deeply as possible, right? Get details that will help you understand it. So some example ways to do that. Tell me more about that, right? I got this from a coach I worked with a couple years ago. I don't know why. I ask a lot of questions naturally. I'm a very curious person. But tell me more about that. I don't know why that wasn't like one of the questions that I always asked. So if you can add that to what you're doing, it's an easy question, but it really helps them dive into what you're doing. It's just noticing. I think I didn't record this. That's all right. Here's another one. What makes this important to you right now? What makes this important to you right now? What you're trying to do or what you want to do or whatever, right? Why is that important to you right now? What's happening that has changed? So what you're trying to figure out is, as opposed to 6 months ago or last year, what happened or what's going on that's making this more important right now than ever before? Or what's the real goal for you this quarter? What's the real goal for you this quarter? For those of you that are interested, just looking at my background. If you would like to do this, let me know. Just drop 5-day underneath and I'll send you a message. 5-day. Having one next week. Love to have you there. It would be amazing. All right. All right, and then the confirm. So we got the clarity. Now we want to confirm what they're saying. You want to repeat it back to them. This is like sales 101, right? You want to reflect back what you heard. So let me just make sure. So what you're saying is X, Y, and Z, right? Or you want to validate their experience. Oh my God, yeah. That has happened to so many other people. Or, I had this other coach who had this exact same problem, or I've dealt with that a million times in my life, whatever it was, right? Make them feel seen. This is the biggest thing that you want to do always, always. But you just want to confirm what they're talking about. Let them know that you're listening to them, that you hear them, that you follow, right? All right, so here's an example. So it sounds like you're posting, but you're not really getting engagement, and that's making you wonder if you're speaking to the right people. Is that right? You see how that goes? All right, and the last C is continue. Here's where most people drop off. Continue. So ask a curiosity-driven follow-up question. Keep the momentum going without pressuring them. Lead them gently towards solutions. So, what have you tried so far? This is an example question. What have you tried so far? I would write that down if you don't already ask that. That is one of definitely the go-to questions that you should always ask. What have you tried so far? Have you tried? Because you don't want to talk about what they're already talking about. Or maybe you want to talk about what they're already talking about, but with a different angle, right? But you need to find out. Another question. What does success look like for you in the next 30 days? Like, where do you want to be in the next 30 days? Where do you want to be this time next year? Where do you want to be in 90 days? Right? Those are easy, kind of curious questions that will move them to the next phase, right? You're kind of getting in deeper. All right, write down 3 curiosity questions that you can use in any conversation. In any conversation, tell me more. That's an easy one, right? So write down 3 curiosity questions that you can use in any conversation, just like go-to questions that you can ask somebody. Or write them down. Drop them down below. If you've got good ones that you use or one that just came to mind, or you chat GPT'd while we were talking, drop them down below. I'd love to see them. All right, so how to transition into a call without being pushy. There are a lot of ways to do this. The best way is the one that works for you. Right? And you might have to trial and error your way into that. But it has to be comfortable for you and it has to work most of the time. Think about this. What are the percentages? If you think that every single time you ask it's going to work and it doesn't and you're disappointed, well, your expectations are probably the problem and not the question. So you need to have numbers before you can judge it. Yes? You have to work your way into that if you don't have those. Anyway, all right. So why pitches fail? Pitches, I'm talking about going into the call, right? So they feel very one-sided, like you're talking them, not with them. That happens a lot. Like, I know, and this happened to me, and I'm about this, and right? That feels very one-sided. They assume somebody's interested. So trying to move somebody to the call who like isn't even asking for help. I've done that before. Don't assume, never assume, right? That's what the questions are for. You're qualifying, you're asking these questions to see if they're ready to move to that next level. And pitches fail because they activate resistance a lot. So people shut down when they sense pressure. So you want to make sure that you've been through enough of the conversation to even start that. So let's talk about the ones that do succeed. When are they great? When they're based on permission, right? You're asking them and they're saying yes. They feel collaborative, like, yeah, let's do this. You know, you're offering help, they want it. You're not pushing a solution on them. And then they respect autonomy, like they feel safe, but not cornered. Safe enough to open up, but not like they have to. You're not making them. All right, so pressure-free invitation formula. Reflect their challenge. You need to know their challenge, right? That's obviously. You need to know their challenge, then reflect it. Share your perspective, and then offer a call as the next step, as the next natural step, right? If you share your perspective and they're into it, you know, hey, let's hop on a call and see how we can move this further. Would you like, here's an example. Would you like help mapping out how to fix that? Happy to take a look. All right, so write your personalized call invitation using the formula. Write it out. All right, biggest mistakes. The first biggest mistake that I see a lot, talking too much about yourself. I should say them. They are talking too much about themselves. That's when it goes wrong. And if you're one of those people that knows that you like to hear yourself talk, you need to check yourself before you jump into a conversation. Always remind yourself it's not about you. It's not about you. Another one is over-explaining credentials. Don't over-explain it. If somebody's asking you a ton of stuff about your credentials, it's because you haven't built up enough value first, right? Or they're looking for a way out. It never has anything to do with credentials, trust me. So build up the value enough. Don't you bring it up to over explain credentials. Nobody cares. Or trying to prove your value, right? That just gets like weird. Or making yourself the focus. Making themselves the focus, making themselves, trying, you see what I'm saying? Trying not to be mean to you, but that is what happens a lot. And a lot of times it's out of nervousness. It's out of lack of confidence. It's not out of lack of knowledge, skills, or expertise. You probably have all of that. It's just that for whatever reason, it flies out the window when we think we're trying to sell. So you need to not try to sell. You need to try to help. Does that make sense? All right. Do not, under any circumstances, send these long paragraphs. Nobody reads. If they are going to read, they will read short bursts, right? Bullets, 1 to 2 lines. By line, I mean literal lines, of a sentence. Short bursts, that's it. Don't overwhelm the reader. It feels so heavy and serious and scary when you see those long paragraphs, and it just creates a lot of pressure. Don't do that, right? So biggest mistakes: talking too much about yourself, themselves, sending super long paragraphs, trying to coach for free. I find myself in this one way too much, right? This is one of mine. And I have to remind myself, and I have to go back to what I know works to not do that. Trying to coach for free devalues your expertise. It devalues it. Your coaching is valuable. I can't think of a better word. Your coaching is valuable. You charge a lot of money for your coaching. Don't give it away for free, right? It turns conversations into therapy sessions. You're not a therapist, right? And then it makes the call invite really weird. Number one, you've already given them a lot of stuff. You don't want to do that, right? So try to guide people without coaching them. Honestly, this is the one that I work on more than any of the other ones. I'm not a big, talking about myself person. I love asking questions and I love hearing about other people. Long paragraphs, I know that bothers me. I don't want to do it to anybody else. But trying to coach for free is something that I have to make sure I check myself on all the time. And then pitching too early. So this comes out of nervousness sometimes. Sometimes it's desperation. You never want it to be out of desperation. But pitching too early, makes you skip the relationship building. It feels salesy already, like too fast, and it damages your positioning. So definitely don't pitch too early. And by pitching, I mean pitching to get on the call, not selling. By pitching, we're talking about getting on a call. So we're not even talking about selling. And then another mistake people make is sounding too robotic or stiff or ChatGPT. That's going to kill connection right off the bat. It's going to feel like copy paste. That's why those specific ones at the beginning are the best. And if you're like, I don't have enough time to do this, A, you don't have enough time to do what? Get clients. B, you don't have enough time to what? Speak to people who might become clients. I mean, there's a lot to say about that, but just think about it. You don't want to copy paste if you can help it. And it makes people distrust, is that a word? Your intentions. They feel like you're not being genuine. And you do not want people to feel that. All right, so action. Create one mistake. You make the most. I told you mine. Tell me yours. Commit to stopping it this week. Write down some things that you're going to do that's going to make you not do that. That's what I have to do. All right. Look at them before you start DMing. Look at them before you get on a call. All right. Let's talk about the key points. So, you know what I didn't do? I didn't tell you about the freebie, and I cannot remember what it's called. I have some scripts that you can redo yourself. Just DM freebie. I'll send it to you. Anyway, so let's recap real quick. DMs start connection. That is the biggest thing that you want to do. Connection, connection, connection. Curiosity builds trust. Ask them. Let them open up. Let them talk about themselves. Ask them, but genuinely ask them. I got on a call with somebody the other day and he was telling me that the last person he talked to made him feel like he was, I forget what he said, but under arrest or something because they were like drilling, like in an interview, right? And that's, I have to keep myself from doing that too, because I do like to ask a lot of questions. So curiosity builds trust, but don't go overboard. Oh, sorry, I started shaking my legs. Make invitations that feel natural, not salesy. And conversations are the engine of consistent clients. I'm going to repeat it. Conversations are the engine of consistent clients. If you're not having enough conversations, I can guarantee you, you don't have consistent clients. All right, send me the word convert if you want help turning simple conversations into consistent clients without feeling salesy or pushy. A couple of things for you real quick. Conversations that convert, 5-day experience. I would love to have you on that. If you are interested, drop 5 days below. If you want the freebie, drop freebie. If you know you want to drop on a call, hit convert. Last thing I want to say is send one message, two, if you're really motivated, today using the strategy that resonated the most with you. And then tell me about it. I want to hear about it. But whether you tell me about it or not, do it. Do it, do it, do it. All right. Thank you so much for hopping on. I will see you next Thursday, same time, same place. Just to give you a little Erica cheese before we go. So I call my 5-day conversations that convert, right? I decided to change this weekly show that's called Elevate and Engage to Conversations That Convert live because I do it every single week live. I hope that's not confusing. Let me know. All right. I will see you same time, same place next week. If you have any questions until then, I'd love to hop on a DM with you. Let me know some of your questions. And drop some stuff down below the video. Love to see it. All right. Ciao, ciao. Have an amazing rest of your day.